What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can automate the rent collection process using make.com. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to create an event on our scenario. So here, I'll search for Google Calendar, then click on create an event. So here we'll be creating an event for that specific month that would like to collect the rents. For the calendar ID, I'm going to use my own calendar ID. The event name, I will name our event as monthly rent collection event. And then here we'll select the start date. So we can start from the 1st of September, remove the time, and the end date, you can add the 30th of September. For the duration, we can say 30 days, and then click on OK. Now, when we run our module, you can see we created our event right here. The start date is September 1st, and it is September the 30th. Now, with our event created, we can begin setting up our rent collection automation. On favorites, I'll click on watch events. So this will be the trigger for automation. Since we already created our event, we can delete this module. And then on our watch events module, we're going to find our event that we just created. So for the calendar, I'm going to choose my calendar. For the watch events, I'm going to choose by starting date. And then here, I'll add the name of our event. We call our event monthly rent collection event. And then for the limit, we can limit it as 1. And then click on OK. Now, to choose where to start, we can say all, and then click on OK. Now, let us run our module. Now, when we run our module, you can see we are getting our event right here. And we have the start date and the end date right here. Now, we can proceed setting up our automation. The next step, we are going to search for Stripe and list all the tenants that live in our property. Then we would like to send them a reminder of the rent payment date. So here, I'll list all customers. And then here, you can choose to filter with their email or by the date they were created. So for the date, you can say before timestamp. Then on the date here, you can say, you can add the timestamp. And then you can choose the limit that you want. For now, I'll just use 1 as our example and click on OK. And now with our customers over here, we'd like to send them an email reminding them that the rent is almost due. So I'll search for email, then click on send an email. We can run this module. And here we have one of our customers. So this is an example of a customer that we have on our Stripe. With our customers over here, we can proceed to send them an email reminding them to make their rent payments before the due date. So I'll add another module and then click on email. And then I'll choose the send an email module. For our email, I'll add the recipient email address, so the email address right here. And then the subject line could be on the lines of upcoming rent payment reminder. And then the content of the email could be on the lines of my name. So their name is right here. I wanted to send a quick reminder that your rent for this month is due soon. Please ensure it's paid by, and then here we are adding the due date, the end date. So the end date, I'm getting it over here. So it's September the 30th. To avoid any late fees, if you have any questions or concern, feel free to reach out. Thanks for your prompt attention to these. Best regards, Dennis. And click on OK. I will rename it to reminder rent email, and then click on OK. After sending them the email, we're going to create a payment for the rent. We're still going to use Stripe. So on Stripe, I'm going to click on create a payment intent. Now on our create payment intent, we'll add our rent amount right here. So you can say our rent is $3,500, but the numbers that you add right here will be in cents. So to convert this into dollars, you'll need to add another 2 zeros. So with this number, it's $3,500. Now for the currency, we're going to search for our currency. And then here we can add our country code, let's say US. And then click on OK. And then we'll choose USD as our currency. You can write a description. For the description, we can say rent payment for this month. And then for the recipient email, we're going to add our customer's email right here. You can choose to add all these other details if you have the details. But I'm just going to click on OK. and proceed to the next step. At this point, we have sent them the amount they're supposed to pay for rent. Now, here, we are going to split the flow into two depending on if the tenant has paid the rent or if the tenant hasn't paid the rent. So here, I'll click on flow control and then click on router. And then here, I'd like to send an email where this flow will be for tenants who haven't paid the rent. So here, we can label it as not paid. We'll come and set up the filter later. And this one will be for paid. And then click on OK. Since you have multiple tenants, and most of them will have paid, we can add the repeater so we can send them an email telling them that we have received their payment. Yeah, I'll go back to flow control and click on repeater. Our initial value is going to be 1. We'd like to repeat it, let's say 100 times, depending on the number of tenants you have on your property. For the steps, is going to be 1. So here I'll click on OK. And then now we can send them an email confirming to them that they have paid the rent. So on email, I'm going to click on send an email module. Here, I'll add the email address. The email address I'm getting from the list all customers module. The subject line could be on the lines of rent payment confirmation. Then the content of the email is on the lines of hi name. I wanted to confirm that we've received your rent payment for this month. Thank you for your promptness. If you need anything or have any questions, feel free to reach out. Wishing you a great day. Best regards, Dennis. And then click on OK. So this email is a confirmed payment email. Now we can choose to add these tenants to a Google spreadsheet that will update each month for the tenants who have paid their rent. I'll click on Google spreadsheet and then click on add a row module. I've created a Google spreadsheet and named it to monthly rent collection sheet. So the first column is for the customer ID. The second column is for their name. The third column is for the email, the amount, and the payment intent. So this is a spreadsheet that will add all those tenants who have paid their rent. I'll search by path, and then I'll choose our spreadsheet. So our spreadsheet is monthly rent collection sheet. Our sheet name is sheet 1. And then here we can add our details. So for the customer ID, we're going to add our customer ID right here. Their name, we're going to add their name. Email, we're going to add their email. For the amount, we're going to add the amount that they paid. And the payment intent ID, we're going to add the payment intent ID right here. And then click on OK. This flow is for those who paid their rent. And then here, this flow will be for those who didn't pay the rent. So for their email address, we're going to add their email address right here. Now the subject line could be on the lines of urgent overdue rent payments. And the content of the email could be on the lines of hi name. I'm writing in to remind you that your rent payment for this month was due yesterday and has not yet been paid. Please take care of this as soon as possible to avoid any late fees or further action. If you're experiencing any issues or need to discuss this, please do not hesitate to contact me. We are here to help you. Looking forward to your prompt response. Best regards, Dennis. Then click on OK. Now we can take it a step further and send a Slack message to the property manager. So here I'll search for Slack and click on Slack. And the module that we're looking for is the create a message module. Here we're going to select our channel from the list. Let's say we're in a channel with the property manager. And then here we're going to pick one of our channels, say Lux. And in our example, our property manager is called John. So we are saying, hey, John, just a heads up that these tenants whose name is this name right here hasn't paid their rent for this month and it's past the due date. I've already sent them a reminder, but we might need to follow up if we don't hear back soon. So let me know how you'd like to proceed. Thanks. Then click on. Only thing that is left is setting up a filter to ensure that these emails go out at the right time. So here we're going to set up a filter and label it as wait 2 days. Here we can say the end date equals to September the 30th. So here we can say this will be our end date. And click on OK. If we are at the end of the month, it's going to send an email to those who haven't paid and another confirmation email to those who have paid their rents. Now here we can further filter according to status. So we can set up the status right here and say I'll add these as our status, and then click on OK. But if they've paid their rent, we're going to add their status and then click on OK. Now we can outline automation and run it to test it and see if it will run successfully. Now for the testing purposes, I will disable our condition over here and change our repeater number to only 1, and then click on OK. Now here I can choose to start from all and run automation. So you can see over here we got our event. Here we listed our customers, we send them the rent reminder email. Here we created a payment intent and we sent it to our tenant, and then if they paid the payments, you can see we're sending them the payments email, and then we added the tenants who paid their rent to our Google spreadsheet right here. When we go to our Google spreadsheet, you can see we added our customer ID, their name, their email, the amount they paid, and their payment intent ID. Now let us test if our automation will send an email to our client who did not pay the invoice. You can rename it to pay rent email, and then click on OK. To test it, I'll choose to run from all. You can see automation ran successfully. So here we are getting our event and our customer, we're sending them the rent reminder. Then we're going to wait 2 days later so we can send them the pay rent email and then send our Slack message to our property manager. So automation is working perfectly. That automation is working perfectly. We can set up our condition. We can label it as due date. Say the condition is the end date should equal to this date. Here, you can remove the time and then click on OK. All that is left, we can choose to choose where to start. We can choose from now and then click on OK, and then turn our automation to on. Then automation will be live. So this is a simple automation that you can set up right now on make.com and automate the entire process of rent collection in your business using make.com. If you have an automation or a system in mind that you'd like for me to create, just comment down below in the comment section. I read all the comments, and if I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to set up the entire automation from scratch. But for now, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.